What's more exciting than two NFL division rivals going head-to-head in Australia? It's knowing you can watch it live on Netflix. Netflix is expanding its NFL coverage this season and beyond. In addition to the Rams and the Niners kicking off Week 1, be sure to catch the first-ever Thanksgiving Eve matchup and 2 Christmas Day games on Netflix. Watch Week 1 of the NFL on Netflix. The Los Angeles Rams versus the San Francisco 49ers, live on Netflix Thursday, September 10th at 8:35 p.m. Eastern, 5:35 p.m. Pacific.
You get the store clerk's attention and point to your favorite lottery scratcher. 3. You prepare your lucky quarter. 2. And work that popcorn shell out of your tooth. 1. Quarter beat scratcher and scratch away with the Illinois Lottery. Be smart, play smart. Must be 18 years or older to play.
Welcome to the Bust Open Podcast. Along with Justin LaBar, I'm Jonathan Hood. And on today's show, we discuss Cody Rhodes. Does he need a faction around him? Like the new Four Horsemen? Who would be in a Cody Rhodes faction? Find out next on the Busted Open Podcast.
This is the Busted Open Podcast.
Smackdown, Toronto, Ontario, Canada. You know what Cody Rhodes did? Cody Rhodes did the thing. Hey, he did the thing that you and I have been talking about for weeks on here. He did the thing. We asked for Cody Rhodes, the American Nightmare, to use forcefulness and combativeness and have a mental edge and a killer instinct. He said himself, I don't have to be the good guy anymore, to Randy Orton. And guess what? That promo that he had as he and Randy Orton going back and forth, there's a little grit in what we saw from Cody Rhodes on Friday.
A little spicy. A little spicy. Somebody pissed in his Cheerios. A little spicy, and I like it. I like it. Yeah, you know, I mean, Cody is a smart guy. He's been in the business his entire life. He knows, and he's also very smart about, he knows where the business has been. He knows where it's at. And I say that to mean he has seen how things change. And meaning you can only be so nice all the time for so long before the audience even starts to go, man, come on, man. If I was you, if you were my best friend, I'd want a little bit of something here. Somebody's doing this and pushing you around and poking at you. Like, what I mean is Cody knows that eventually an audience could even get tired and start to say, you know what, I'm not even going to be on your side anymore because you're being too soft about this. Like, he knows when you're taking on somebody like a Randy Orton, when you have a feud that has this much history, this many layers, can get this personal, you got to show some grit. You got to take it to a different level. It doesn't all have to be, you know, sunshine and roses in your speech. It doesn't all have to be all American good guy vernacular. So I'm glad to see Cody, whether it's him trying to stay ahead of the curve or whether we're teasing at something else. Any which way, though, it felt appropriate for where things are at with he and Randy Orton for him to speak the way he spoke this past Friday.
You and I have been doing shows for a long time. And the one thing that should be a hallmark of what I've told you is that wrestling does not have to be black and white, babyface, heel. Yes, I think that I do believe in babyfaces and heels, but I also believe in character development. It's something that we've talked about, character development, where wherever Cody's going, it doesn't have to be all the way to the right, like what John Cena was trying to do, right? Trying to be a heel. It doesn't have to be like, oh my God, he's a completely different, but there's nothing wrong with this good guy saying, I've done this on my own for a long time. I feel like I'm getting further and further away from the World Heavyweight Championship. Maybe, just maybe, I'm going to do something a little bit different. I'm going to match the energy of the guy next to me. I need the adulation of the crowd. Sure, I need you guys because you're part of me in this character. But also, I'm going to step it up a little bit more. I'm going to kind of delve into what my opponent does to get the edge on me. I'm not going to say, no, I'm not going to do it this way. I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to cheat. I'm not going to cut corners. Man, you got to say and do what you have to do to survive in WWE. All those sharks. So if Cody is going to have what I consider a little bit more grit, a little bit more aggressiveness, harder on the mic, getting his point across, not asking us what do we want to talk about, but saying whose ass I'm going to kick. I'd rather have that guy than what we saw before because, as you mentioned, that guy over the last 12 months is a little bit stagnant.
Yeah, you said match the energy. That's the old saying. You got to fight fire with fire, and again, I think the audience appreciates that. Stagnant's a great word. If, you know, like, again, it's not like he's just taking on, you know, here's our new heel that we just signed. He's taking on Randy freaking Orton. I mean, so
Yeah.
I like the progressions we've seen. 2 weeks ago, as we kind of chuckled about a little bit, but now it's coming more into context. Cody's getting ready to fight fire with fire. He's getting ready to take that chair and bash it over Randy's head until Daivari is the voice of reason and steps in and takes it away from him. So I like the fact that we're seeing that Cody is starting to realize, hey, I got to do some things that maybe I ain't gonna be proud of, but it's needed for survival. That's what this should be. All dating back since Randy came back weeks ago at SummerSlam. I said to you, this is them running this back the right way after the WrestleMania build got muddied and convoluted with the inclusion of Pat McAfee and Jelly Roll, who I like both of them individually. And I know that both of them appreciate WWE, and obviously for Pat, for both of them, but they both have participated in matches with WWE, and respectfully, they I like both of them, but we can all agree it just time and place, it wasn't needed. You don't need to include them on the build to a WrestleMania match between Cody Rhodes and Randy Orton. It is what it is, but this feels like they're running it back the right way. This is what it should be. Randy Orton, one of the best heels of all time, mentor to Cody Rhodes. And Cody, what are you going to do? What are you going to do at this stage of your career where this guy, there's very few people that are that you have to look up to. Well, you have to look up to Randy Orton. What are you going to do when he's challenging you? I love it.
It's interesting that Cody Rhodes' name has come up here because on an appearance on Cheap Heat, the Cheap Heat podcast hosted by WWE Radio's own Peter Rosenberg, the Ringer's David Shoemaker floated an idea of Cody Rhodes reviving the Four Horsemen. So let's go back in time and hear Shoemaker saying this, the idea of Cody being involved with a new Four Horsemen.
I know that it's sacrilegious. I know that everyone that hears this is just going to be like, Shoemaker's just full of it again. Isn't Cody exactly the dude who should relaunch the Four Horsemen? Like, isn't like Cody with just some other dudes in suits, like exactly what you want to see from him as a heel?
Oh,
I mean, I just think like,
why are you doing this to us?
And you don't have to be a heel. You don't have to be like, I hate fans now. You just have to be like, I'm a dude that like dresses really well and is very proud of myself, and my friends here agree, and you're functionally a villain. You're funny, like for the purposes of pro wrestling, you're a heel.
It's brilliant by Shoemaker. Absolutely brilliant, because it's something that you and I hadn't thought about, like a group, but like the new Four Horsemen or something like that. Can I just tell you, if that was ever to happen, Ric Flair's last match did not kill him, but this would kill him. So I'm just telling you, if Jay Lethal and Jeff Jarrett couldn't get the job done, this would kill him. This would be the end for Ric Flair, as he loves to threaten on social media and this and that. Could you imagine?
Conrad would need to take Rick's phone from him.
Could you imagine? I can't believe they would do this to me. Woo! It'd be a long, long screed. Boy, could you imagine that tweet and all those capital letters?
All those capital letters.
This would kill
him. Well, I mean, look, Cody certainly, he looks the part already. He comes out, he's in the suits, he looks the part. He looks like he could be standing in Atlanta doing a promo in 1985, in Georgia. It's tough because I feel like WWE did this successfully once. You don't ever try to say we're doing this is the Four Horsemen 2.0, even though that would be incorrect, because there was already several iterations of them back in the day. But like you don't ever try to say this is the new Four Horsemen. WWE did it right. They had a group called Evolution that had Ric Flair in it, that had four people in it. That was the right That was the new Four Horsemen, and it was done. They didn't have to say Four Horsemen. I'd have to go back. This is what 20 years ago. I'd have to go back. Maybe there was little hints at times on commentary, like maybe little Easter eggs, but they didn't. They weren't broad about it. It wasn't like Ric Flair or Triple H have created the new Four Horsemen of the 2000. No, they just let it be what it was. They called it Evolution. They had a kick-ass theme song from Motorhead. God. And when they wore the suits, they're getting off the helicopters and the limos. They got the women. They're at the strip clubs. It was everything the Four Horsemen lore was: jet flying, women, money, everything. And then of course they went and did their dirty deeds in the ring. That was perfect because Rick was involved. There's 4 people. It represented the lineage of Rick's the old guard. Triple H is the current guard. Here's the up and comers and Randy Orton and Batista. That was perfect. And Evolution goes down as one of the great stables, especially of the modern era. I don't know if you could ever. I don't know if you could ever try to redo that with the intention of spawning off the Horsemen. I don't know if Cody can. I can't imagine Cody having a stable that he's referring to as the new Horseman, and it coming off the way you want. Obviously it starts with who the hell's in it, who's in it, and what's the pressure you just put on some of the people in it, especially if the other 3 aren't all fully established automatic Hall of Famers like Cody is. So I don't know. It's an interesting conversation to have, but it's one interesting to have now because we're looking at Cody in a way that we have not looked at Cody since he came back to WWE, which is he's not all just your all-American next door guy. He's starting to show some edge, appropriately so, but that's what makes you start to go, okay, well, this is the kind of Cody with the edge that I could see venturing off and doing things like this.
I just think that's a fresh coat of paint of someone that's going to need help because the office is not helping him anymore. You can kind of write that if you'd like to, right? Where Cody Rhodes does not have the ear of the office anymore, and he feels like he needs to do this to get closer to the championship. He needs a suit of armor, meaning other members of a faction to be able to get to where he needs to be. Is it a shortcut? Whatever, but he is just steadfast in the belief that he should be QB1 and the world champion. We did the topic a few weeks ago talking about it wasn't a topic, just you and I having a discussion about can you be QB1 and not be world heavyweight champion? And the answer is no. You could be QB1, but you're not the world champion, and you feel like you're a little further away from that. So no matter what you call it, having a faction around Cody Rhodes, and we've seen this before in his career in WWE, would be really interesting at this time because it would add a different, as I mentioned, a different coat of paint, and also maybe closer to being heel Cody than white meat babyface Cody. And a little bit of that kind of showed from Smackdown this past Friday. Cody Rhodes and Randy Orton hell-bent to go after one another, and it's going to be awesome when they do because there's a lot of heat there. Let's go back and hear Cody Rhodes' promo talking to Randy Orton. Listen to the key phrase he uses.
Say you're right. Say you go and you win the 15th. Hell, maybe the 16th, maybe the 17th. Maybe Randy Orton becomes the greatest of all time. But here's what happens after. You still come back to me. The one who kills the legend killer is QB1. And Randy, that is not a prediction. It's a spoiler.
The smart Toronto crowd picked up on that because notice the pause in the middle. It's not a prediction. And then people at home and in the arena's like, it's a spoiler? It's a spoiler. Oh, where have we heard that before, sir?
And this is and what's interesting about dropping that line right now, this is a very rare time in his WWE history that Paul Heyman is not officially affiliated with anyone. Brock Lesnar for all intents and purposes, as of now, is retired. He's no longer the wise man to the tribal chief.
Mm-hmm.
He's no longer the best friend to CM Punk. It appears that he has handed in his card, his pass, his membership to the Vision.
Yes.
He seems to have vacated that.
Mm-hmm.
He's in this weird limbo space of he's showing respect to Obafemi, as he should, because Obafemi, again, for all intents and purposes, has retired Brock Lesnar, so that would warrant the advocate to at least show some respect to who he is the only one who could retire the Beast. He's kind of poking and prodding at Braun Breaker's career, but he's not. Again, he's not. He's kind of keeping his hands up in the air, like, oh, this is your career. You go figure it. You go fight Obafemi.
Right.
So he's in this weird limbo spot. We haven't ever often seen Paul, unless he's being the general manager of SmackDown or Raw, whichever it was back in the day. SmackDown, I believe. He's otherwise always been attached to a superstar. So that makes Cody saying that line all the more interesting. And J Hood, wouldn't it be so Paul Heyman-ish that he has everybody look over here. I'm showing respect to the ruler of Obafemi, and I believe in you, Braun Breaker, but if you're the future, you better show us all. He's kind of look over here.
Mm-hmm.
Meanwhile, he's really over there pulling the strings, meaning he's really over there in the ear of QB1. And wouldn't it be fitting in Cody's hometown of Atlanta, when he's got to make a statement, when he's got to take on this demon of his past in Randy Orton, wouldn't it be fitting where he's been the best friend, he's been the wise man, he's been the advocate? Wouldn't it be fitting that if he steps up and next to QB1, he's the coach?
Oh, be perfect. Absolutely.
He's the coach.
Paul Heyman in a hoodie and a whistle. That'll be fantastic. Yes. Let's see that.
He's the
He
coach.
ditches the suit and puts on the whistle. Very good.
He's not going to ditch the suit, but he always assigns himself a new role pending his current client. And wouldn't that be fitting that he's the coach to QB1?
Whatever it takes for Cody to get closer to the championship, I think he's willing to try anything. And just in that minute 20, it kind of told you, like, I've learned from my enemies and my friends and my opponents. And here, I got something for you as well. This is interesting. It'll be very interesting. Susumu suggests maybe matching tracksuits with Cody and Heyman. Why not?
Wouldn't that be a look?
So David Shoemaker floats out the idea of Cody Rhodes reviving the Four Horsemen on cheap heat. And of course, if it's WWE, rarely they would ever use an IP from a different company. Rarely. They would like to be able to repackage it in their own way. Now, this would not be like the Four Horsemen returning, even though it'd be an old idea that would be fresh for 2026. But you can call it what legacy, call it whatever you like, right? Call it whatever you want. But if this is ever a thing, I have 3 other members that would be with Cody Rhodes to make a foursome.
Okay.
Are you ready, sir?
Come on, give it to me in your Triple H voice.
Are you ready? I said, are you ready? So it's Cody Rhodes along with something that would remind you of the original, almost original Four Horsemen, because you have to have a tag team in that Four Horsemen. One of them would be Ricky Starks, because they're friends going way back. Ricky Starks and Cody Rhodes, they've Ricky Saints. Yes, that's who he is now. Ricky Saints. Since they have a relationship, that seems to work. Then there's All Ego Ethan Page.
You and I are on the same wavelength. That's the name I have right here on this line right here.
Yes. They also have a past,
Mm-hmm.
right? So now, before I give you the fourth person, let me just stop here. I've got my Tully and Arn right there with Ethan Page and Ricky Saints. You say, oh, that because one guy's all ego and the other one's Ricky Saints. No. I told Dreamer this, and I think I told you this as well. If you do not have a direct path for singles wrestlers, and you feel like they'll never be world champion, they won't be U.S. champion, they won't be Intercontinental champion, they're just good hands. Okay, they need to be in a tag team. What is Bobby Eaton? And Bobby Eaton and Stan Lane or Dennis Condrey is my favorite tag team of all time. I'm a Midnight Express mark.
I know you are.
Because at the time, you know what the wrestlers were saying? You guys are doing way too much. You're moving too fast. Grab a hold. This is 1986. And they're telling them just like, yeah, you guys are moving too fast. You're doing too much Memphis shit. It's too silly. They said that about Harley Race too, by the way, in his prime. He's too silly. Those bumps he would take. But I digress. Could you Harley?
I know.
Of all people, right? So this is how the eras work, right? The era that's next is not as good as the era before to the old timers. So I love the Midnight Express. So if you feel like Ethan Page, who I think has had a really good, solid singles run here in WWE or AAA, it's been great. Ricky Saints can't get out of the starting blocks. Not yet. I think they are going in a direction. I just don't know when. So have them as a tag team and it will work because those two guys are veterans. The fourth person, if you're going to do this whole thing with the Four Horsemen, is Royce Keys. Royce Keys is your Lex Luger in this Four Horsemen. Because with Royce Keys, you can already tell, like, okay, they put him in some good spots. Now he's disappeared. Royce Keys, as you and I said, hey, man, be careful. All of a sudden, you'll be making a difference with a big Pelly Pell jacket in the summer, painting a wall in the inner city. Careful. Did we say like, be careful?
You might you might have to like, some people might not pick that reference up. You might have to like expand on that one there.
No, tell them 1995, right?
Is that Rikishi?
Yeah.
Before he's Rikishi, he's just still Fatu or whatever. Yeah. He's helping the youth. He's going to speak to the youth about in the inner city about staying off the drugs and staying away from the gangs and do some good in your community.
Yes, I mean bad. That's a killer. And you got him in a Pelly Pell or 8-ball jacket, and he's out there painting the wall in the hot summer. Like
cover up that graffiti, kid.
I mean, world championships, by the way, for him while he was doing that gimmick.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's why we were because we kept saying like vignette after vignette, Palo Alto, all the stuff that where he's from. It's like, okay, all right, tough background. You sat down with Stephanie, okay, but that guy can go. Let's go. Enough of the backdrop. We got the story. He grew up in a tough environment. All right.
Yep.
Now can we move forward? Now that you've given that story a context, awesome. I don't know why you got so much of it on the front end, but at least now we know. Okay, so now can he be a killer? So that's why I think that Royce Keys can spin out of that group with Cody and vie for the world championship or a high singles championship. So if you're ever going to do this, Justin LaBar, that is my foursome.
I don't hate that. In fact, I have pen to paper. I wrote on 4 lines here. 2 of my lines said Ricky Saints and Ethan Page. I looked at them also and thought that would fit. In total, I have a little bit more here, but it's preseason football time, so you gotta have extra strings here. We gotta make cuts here, so we're still beyond the 53-man roster, so we can go a little bit deeper. So I agree, Saints and Ethan Page would be 2 options. I guess my swapping out of, because I too agree with you. You need a tag team in there. You need, out of the 4, 2 of them need to operate where they can fight for tag team gold and operate as a traditional tag team unit. So if I was to swap Saints and Ethan Page out, this might not be as popular because quite frankly, they haven't been seen on TV in a while. But there are 2 guys that are brothers that can go. and that WWE just never really found much of a they just didn't find much of when they have used them on TV, and that is Julius and Brutus Creed, the Creed brothers.
Mm-hmm.
Real life brothers who are collegiate, or I believe they're real life brothers. Yeah, right.
Yep.
Yeah, they are. Real life brothers who are collegiate athletes who can go. You could see enough of them when they've been on TV that they can go. It's just they didn't have much of a connection to the crowd. It was just kind of like, well, who are these guys? They're in their collegiate spandex, and they can wrestle well, but a lot of people can wrestle well in the show here. Not clicking was their miss so far. You associate them in a group like this with the Cody and, dare we say, a Paul Heyman, all of a sudden you have the audience's attention. So I put them because they're there and they're not doing anything.
Right.
My substitution for your Royce Keys suggestion, and I have no problem with Royce Keys, but I'm just giving you what I had written on my fourth line here. I had Creed brothers, Saints, Ethan Page. My substitution for you, who your heavy is, for who your enforcer is, Big Cass.
There we go.
Big Cass.
There we go. But now let that guy loose, though. Let him loose. Let's not go backwards or sideways. If he's going to be your enforcer, he has to continue to be a force. He protects Cody. He protects the championship if Cody wins the championship.
Could you imagine the lure of protecting Cody being Cody's one-man secret service? He's 7 foot tall. You can't teach that, but no more comedy, all that away. Protecting Cody Rhodes and then having Paul Heyman cut promos telling you about how much of a badass he is.
Yeah.
And I probably shouldn't say badass because I know badass is a term that's been coined a lot to Braun Breaker, and it seems like we're moving Heyman away from that, but you get my point.
Yeah.
To tell you how impressive this 7 foot big cat is. Like, that to me, he's back. He's on this brutal redemption tour of himself, of his career, and he's taking guys out. He's telling Javon Evans it ain't personal. It's just, like, you put Cody standing in those suits, QB1 standing in those track suits, and he's got Paul Heyman, his coach, stand next to him, and then towering right behind him, arms folded, Big Cass. That's, you got something there.
That works. Now you have your Nash.
Mm-hmm.
And then again, somehow he becomes babyface and he'll be vying for the world championship at some point down the line. You can write that way. And 12 months after that. I mean, that's
absolutely. Coming up, we talk Solo Sikoa as a babyface. Do you like it? Talk about it next.
The fastest growing pro wrestling show on the planet. Busted Open every day, 9 to noon Eastern.
Our days are full of things that send us in different directions. But the Mazda CX-90 brings us back together. With a quiet cabin that makes conversations easier, a flexible third row to make space where you need it, and a refined interior that makes everyone feel at home. The Mazda CX-90. More craft, more care, more space to fit your life. There's more to the Mazda CX-90.
Nissan Frontier doesn't mess around. Frontier comes standard with a 310 horsepower V6, the most powerful, naturally aspirated V6 in its class. It can tow up to 7,150 pounds. With 9-speed automatic transmission, you get smooth power every time you hit the gas. Visit your local Nissan dealer and get a Frontier. No tricks, no trendy, unproven turbo or hybrid fad. Just real truck power. Auto Pacific segmentation. 2026 Frontier versus latest in market competitors in the mid-size truck class. Base models compared based on manufacturers' websites.
Here's your report.
Oh, thanks, Jane. I wish I could hire someone just like you.
Try LinkedIn Hiring Pro. It's more than a job board. It's like the recruiter you always wished you had. Hiring Pro uses real-time insights to match your role to LinkedIn's unique network of professionals and delivers a short list of best fit candidates. You'll spend less time sorting applicants and more time talking to the right people.
Let's do it. You're irreplaceable, Jane, but another you would be great.
Hire right the first time. Post your job for free on LinkedIn today at linkedin.com/Pandora.
OnDeck is built to back small businesses like yours. Whether you're buying equipment, expanding your team, or bridging cash flow gaps, OnDeck's loans up to $400,000 help make it happen fast. Rated A+ by the Better Business Bureau and earning thousands of 5-star Trustpilot reviews, OnDeck delivers funding you can count on. Apply in minutes at OnDeck.com. Depending on certain loan attributes, your business loan may be issued by OnDeck or Celtic Bank. OnDeck does not lend in North Dakota. All loans and amounts subject to lender approval.
You get the store clerk's attention and point to your favorite lottery scratcher. 3. You prepare your lucky quarter. 2. And work that popcorn shell out of your tooth. 1. Quarter bead scratcher and scratch away with the Illinois Lottery. Be smart, play smart. Must be 18 years or older to play.
The Summer of Audi sales event is here. The finesse, the precision, and the power. We know the sound of performance when we hear it. Game recognizes game.
So we talk about babyface and heels on this show a lot, right? So, so one of the questions on here is, do you feel like this is an official heel turn for Roman Reigns? And the question and the answer is the same, because Justin has said this a million times. He ain't changed.
No.
Roman's Roman. Like, however you perceive Roman Reigns is him. This is not a big dog Roman Reigns. This is just a guy that's in his prime and in his groove right now. I mean, so just because Solo Sikoa has changed doesn't mean that Roman has changed. I mean, Roman is who he is. I told you last week about Solo Sikoa. This whole thing of him being a heel to now a babyface and facing the other members of the bloodline. I don't know, like a Solo Sikoa LA Knight combination. You know how I feel about funky tag teams. I told you about that, if they're going to be a tag team. But the numbers game still is a problem for me. Yeah. And just Solo Sikoa just feels like at any moment he will turn on LA Knight. I don't know when, but I just feel like I can't trust him. I just don't.
Yeah, well, see, I'm not as interested in the strange bedfellows of LA Knight and Solo Sikoa. So I think you and I tend to lean on the same side there. But I gotta say, every week that goes by, I'm buying a little bit more stock in Solo Sikoa. And some of this is because I've watched the peaks and valleys of Solo up to this point. Solo came in, he's introduced, and he was the silent enforcer. As you said, towel on the head, kind of reminiscent of Taz.
Yeah.
Didn't say a word, was just a badass. They protected him. Correct me if I'm wrong, he didn't even have matches. He just kicked the shit out of people. They didn't even have to give him a match. There was no contest needed to be decided, which was a smart move in retrospect. He had a great enforcer introduction. And then when he spun off, that's when things started going. That's when it was like, okay, he's trying to do his own tribal chief, and it's just not working. Mm-hmm. You know, and it wasn't necessarily a problem of cast. I mean, he had Jacob with him. Jacob's great. You know, then he brings in Tama Tonga, and he tries to do the MFTs and that. And it's not so much on Solo as much as it was that the only notable feud the MFTs had was against the Wyatt Six. So you're feuding against a somewhat supernatural group of characters. So, you know, point being is I saw what it was like when he exited the enforcer role and they tried to put him as a dominant heel leading his own group. And I was like, boy, this is not his fault, but it's just not working. We're wasting talent. I kind of like the fact that where he either had to be silent enforcer or he had to try to talk tough like Roman, I like the fact that now it feels like he's getting to be him actual self. I like when I see these segments of his real life older brothers and Jimmy and Jay mocking him and dragging him to the delivery to Roman Reigns. And like, I can feel the chemistry. I can feel the fun. I'm like, all right, this feels real. And so to see him, so again, I'm not saying I need Solo friends with LA Knight, but to see, I'm so glad that the segment on Monday, the delivering of Solo Sikoa to Roman Reigns, I'm so glad it did not just end with Solo putting the ones up and I acknowledge you, my tribal chief. I'm glad that they are not squandering the momentum that it feels like Solo has with the audience. That segment a few weeks ago when he was in the middle of the crowd and he's having the back and forth with Jay, who's in the ring.
Yeah.
And Jay, I issue your warning shot, pow. And Solo hit the deck mockingly and then turned around behind him. Everybody okay? Like, that was some of the funniest shit on WWE TV, and it was Solo doing it. And then his pew, pew, pew. I still haven't got is it GIF or GIF? I still am trying to find the GIF of that to use on Twitter. That'll be my show tweet every week. Pew, pew, pew. I'm gonna pew, 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 fire at you, J Hood. Like, Solo, in a matter of time, just by showing, in a matter of short time, just by getting to show his actual personality, or at least some other level of it. I don't know him personally, but this feels good. And so I'm all for organic baby faces, especially if it's an organic baby face who has a connection, who's part of the bloodline, but can be opposed to the bloodline. And then there's the Jacob component. And I've been sour for months that they put Jacob back in the bloodline. He's been doing it against his will, but now it looks like we might be getting ready to come back out and let's pick back up with his momentum. So I'm okay with how this is going, and with Solo especially. I think it's much better than the alternative, which is he's just back and he's another soldier standing behind Roman.
Okay, with him on his own, fine, because Roman's got enough security. He's got the Usos and he's got Jacob Fatu, who seems like he's in the middle.
Right.
He only moves when Roman tells him to move. That's why that whole thing that happened on Raw was like, so Jacobs is only going to be able to move and do something because Roman tells him to, almost like a dog. It's very interesting.
Well, and then Jacob tried to do some dirty work. He gets he gets yelled at by Roman. And so then he just stands in the corner like, all right, well, apparently you don't appreciate me. Like, I mean, it feels like, J Hood, we are headed towards a Roman and Usos versus Solo, Jacob, and LA Knight. Now, I know that's a little redundant that we just saw Solo in a 6-man tag at SummerSlam with LA Knight and then Royce Keys against, part of the bloodline. But this feels bigger because it's Jacob defecting out and you have Roman involved. I mean, that feels like, whether it's, I don't know if they drag this out to Money in the Bank or if this is a Sunday night. I don't know when it's going to be, but that's what it feels like we're headed towards. And that,
okay.
And then, oh, by the way, those mother trucking Tongans.
Oh, yes.
So, I mean, like, I don't know. I'm getting a little excited at the reset that's happening with the different branches of the family tree. And then, oh, by the way, November comes around. Well, there's Survivor Series.
Okay. We're going to,
You're not happy.
That missed it.
You're not happy.
I'm not. I'm bored, actually.
Okay.
But here's the thing. You're going to convince me, consigliere. You're going to help me. So get the pencil out, because we're going to play the sound. And then when we come back, I need you to map out 6 months of Solo Sikoa and where this happens from now to 6 months. I'll give you some time, but I don't know where this is going. I'm fine with Solo Sikoa not being part of the bloodline. Yes. I just don't know what this is. What is this? What is this future? Like, Fatu against Roman in a world title match. I can't even see what that looks like. I can't even see Solo winning that match. I don't know if the crowd's with him now. I don't know. Can he be able to get even the pops of LA Knight? LA Knight's he laps Solo Sikoa as far as crowd engagement. He does.
Give it time.
Okay, well, write it down. 6 months. I want you to tell me where he is, because I don't get it. I don't, because I don't know what Solo Sikoa is supposed to be and what he is going to be by the time we get to, like, say, WrestleMania.
Well,
guy, or
look, I mean, here's the way I look at it. I'm not going to book you with a straight face Solo going in and leaving WrestleMania as champion, at least not this year's WrestleMania. I'm not going to book you that. But here's the philosophy that I look at it as. You have this real life bloodline. Real life. They're all related and connected. And and obviously Roman leads the way, as he should, as he's proven. But to me, it's okay. How, you have this magic of everybody's related in some form or fashion. They're all connected. You have this great lineage. How do we elevate? And there's a point. There's for a point in time, you have them stand as good soldiers behind Roman, and eventually they defect. But even that, they've already did that once with Solo, and even that, when Solo then went off on his own or tried to do his own group, like as I just noted a few moments ago, that didn't really work as well. So to me, this is a great second chance of how to elevate. And so if you can come out of this, that with Roman's presence and being defiant against him and being defiant against the Usos, if you can come out of this, I mean, look, Jey Uso's already been elevated once through all this. Now, you could say, so I'm looking for more of that. Again, I'm not saying Solo's got to win the world title like Jey Uso did, but I'm looking for Solo to be elevated, and they're in the process of doing that. Jacob Fatu, I could, with a straight face, book you of him winning your world title at some, maybe not Mania, but at some time or some place. I love the momentum he had, and I hated the fact that they put him back in the bloodline back in the spring. So they're in the process of getting a second chance here with Solo to elevate Solo. Again, maybe not world title, but if he can stand on his own and be interesting, but not have to have every segment be with Roman, if he can eventually branch off once he's done battling with Roman and the family, whether that takes you through Survivor Series, whether that takes you to the Rumble, whatever the timeline is, if you've elevated another guy, and again, you might have thought when you brought him in, okay, Solo's we're going to try to make him the next big bad heel. But if you've pleasantly discovered and surprisingly discovered, he's got babyface potential. He's got babyface personality. He's got babyface merch. We can put pew 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 on T-shirts and people are going to buy it. Like, this. Yeah. It's easier to be a heel. It is hard to find a babyface that people connect to and that doesn't feel like it's being shoved down their throat and manufactured. And they've all of a sudden discovered they've stumbled in this babyface Solo. So that's why I'm giddy on it. And if Jacob's going to go back to being a babyface soon, and a babyface for him doesn't mean he has to be all sunshine and roses. He can still be all gas, no brakes, but people respect him and respect the story. And he's a guy, again, who could stand on his own, who doesn't have to always be feuding with Roman. That's great. And then you look, and then the tongue is being elevated just by having Haku around. They're already winning tag team gold.
Yes.
And then, oh, by the way, Zilla Fatu's here. And Zilla Fatu, I mean, like, to me, it's a matter of elevation. They can't all just rely on civil war amongst the family. That's a great starting point, but eventually you have to say they can stand alone without the civil war. And this is showing me that Solo has a life beyond in-family civil war. That's what I love about this.
Well, I think all of those points are well made, and I agree. I just don't want to be able to look. I have a wrestling bandwidth. I can't deal with Solo Sikoa being with LA Knight and then all roads go right back to Roman. Because if that's what you're going to be in 6 months, then I've wasted my time investing in Solo Sikoa.
Fair.
Like, and by the way, I don't want Solo Sikoa. I want to make sure it's clear. I'm not saying Solo Sikoa needs to be Chad Gable, where just like you're on your own and you're a baby face and you're wrestling for singles championships. I'm not saying that either. What I'm saying is that if we're here doing this show and in 6 months, it didn't work out with Solo, and then he's right back with Roman, then what are we doing here? Like, eventually that's going to happen. All those stories you just told about the bloodline specific works for me. Okay, Jay and Jimmy are back aligned with Roman Reigns. We knew eventually that was going to happen. It's fine. The MFTs, just because Haku's making the towns now, like that's interesting to me, right? Mm-hmm. Now, there's a stoic man and he's made the MFTs mean something now. Just with Haku, didn't say a lot. He's not this mouthy manager. He's just a guy there with presence. And you feel like there's danger when he holds that stick. There's something going on there, right? Mm-hmm. But Solo, I just like to know what the path is. I'd love to be a fly on the wall on Unreal to know exactly how, on the dry race board, would they see from Solo Sikoa. Roman berates Solo Sikoa before Jacob Fatu attacks Solo. Let's go back in time in Raw and hear what Roman had to say.
Oh, you a cool guy now, huh? You got you got a John Mayer on right there, huh? I wonder where that came from. You got your little chain there. See, now I'm starting to question. Why are you even looking me eye to eye right now? Why aren't you down on your knees begging me right now?
It's a launching point. Roman's a launching point. I completely agree with you. If it's Royal Rumble and the lead storyline for Solo is what number did he draw, and he wants to get his hands on bloodline member A, B, and C. I will agree. What are we still doing? But I think right now, using Roman as a launching point to continue to bounce off this newfound characters are always about evolution. Wrestling characters evolve. Solo's evolved into this babyface that he's now become, and they're using Roman as a launch period. And okay, we're getting Jacob back as a babyface. We're using Roman as a launching pad. Okay, we've had enough Jey Uso as a single star. There's some questions about how great that singles run, especially him as champion, was. Let's put him back in a tag team. Let's let that tag team go back with Roman. That made sense. Like Roman is just he's center. He's the constant center. Bounce off of Roman, and let this eventually take Solo elsewhere. Let him be able to stand on his own as a charismatic babyface fighting somebody that's last name is not Anawahi. Like, that's where we have to go. I totally agree with you. If we're still doing this, come Rumble, come Mania, I'll give it to Survivor Series, because Survivor Series, by the nature of the gimmick of the show, is team versus team. So I'll give it to Survivor Series because you actually can make a case that there's something interesting there between Roman's side of the family, Solo's side of the family, NFTs. Like, there's something there. So I'll give it through November. But after that, I agree that this can't be the same rinse and repeat. I don't need to see Solo palling around with LA Knight to fight against the Bloodline in January.
I don't see it, man. I don't see the vision. But we will find out if it's going to be clear as we move forward.
Catch the full 3 hours of Busted Open every day of the week at 9 a.m. Eastern on WWE Radio on Sirius XM Channel 156.
Hosting Busted Open, I get to talk to pro wrestlers every day, and they're always telling me the importance of protein. Lando Frost Premium Lunch Meat is the smart choice for families. Packed with 8+ grams of protein per serving to help you power through the day. No artificial flavors or byproducts. It's a great value for the generous portion size. Mix it up with delicious flavors like hot honey chicken, black forest ham, and honey smoked turkey. Shop Lando Frost Premium Lunch Meat at your favorite local grocery store.
You get the store clerk's attention and point to your favorite lottery scratcher. 3. You prepare your lucky quarter. 2. And work that popcorn shell out of your tooth. 1. Quarter beat scratcher and scratch away with the Illinois Lottery. Be smart, play smart. Must be 18 years or older to play.